India's Xing is expected to visit Qingdao, China, from June 25th to 27th, 2025, to attend the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Defense Ministers meeting. This marks the first visit by an Indian ministerial official to China since the Galwan Valley conflict in 2020 and a significant interaction following the China-India border agreement in October 2024. Many media outlets have begun speculating about improving China-India relations, even suggesting that Modi might visit China in the second half of the year. In the past, whenever India took steps to improve diplomatic relations with China, Chinese media would discuss dragon-elephant cooperation and the unity of global South nations to shape a multipolar world. However, this time, such discussions have largely collapsed in comment sections, with netizens overwhelmingly arguing against cooperation with India. Mainstream media have also become cautious about these speculations, rarely mentioning China-India cooperation proactively. In China, a hardline stance against India, even to the extent of defeating or dismantling it, has become the dominant online sentiment. Why emphasize online sentiment? In reality, most Chinese people do not care about India. Few Chinese travel to India, do business there, or study there. The primary impression of India comes from the increasing presence of Indian people in Chinese cities, prompting some radicals to call for tighter visa policies for Indians. So why are Chinese people no longer willing to discuss friendly cooperation with India? This video explores the reasons behind this shift. First, Modi's hostile actions toward China since taking office, including restrictions on Chinese companies and bans on Chinese apps, particularly the Galwan Valley conflict, have deeply angered Chinese people. Due to China-US tensions and the Taiwan issue, the Chinese government is reluctant to engage in border conflicts with India. Instead, it has adopted a limited retaliation policy, strengthening border control, advancing border infrastructure, and responding with force to provocations along the line of actual control. However, this approach has frustrated domestic hardliners who want the government to support separatist forces in India's northeastern states, expand their armed struggles, and, if necessary, deploy troops to sever the Siliguri corridor to resolve the Xiongnan territorial dispute permanently, allowing India's northeastern states to gain independence or merge with Bangladesh. On the Western Front, Pakistan, known as the Ironclad Friend, enjoys extensive Chinese investment, with close cooperation in politics, diplomacy, economics, and military affairs. During India-Pakistan conflicts, Chinese people are generally satisfied with the government's support, but radicals believe China should directly intervene, at least deploying technical units to secure Pakistan's rear and train the military in real combat, not just test weapon performance. Given Pakistan's limited economic strength, Chinese netizens advocate for heavily discounted weapons, almost giving them away, and accelerating deliveries of advanced weapons like the J-35 to maintain Pakistan's equipment advantage over India. Arming and aiding Pakistan has become an unchallenged consensus in China. The government is aware of this online anti-India sentiment, which appears irreversible. Second, Chinese people have long held negative views of India. Beyond the 1962 border conflict and ongoing territorial disputes, India historically acted as an accomplice to British colonialists, serving as guards in Hong Kong and Shanghai to help suppress Chinese people. This led to the derogatory term ASEAN for Indians. With the internet's rise, videos of India have spread across Chinese social media, shocking people with its poverty and filth. Indian ignorance and arrogance have made the country a laughingstock online. Mocking India has become a major form of entertainment on the Chinese internet. Arrogant claims by Indian netizens on platforms like Quora, X, YouTube, and Facebook are often translated into Chinese and circulated for ridicule. For example, Indian boasts about the urban development of Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, and Gurgaon astonishing Chinese people, paired with real images of these cities, trigger waves of mockery. Honestly, Even Mumbai's CBD is comparable only to a third-tier Chinese city, while Delhi and Bangalore are even less impressive. Beyond their CBDs, these so-called Indian metropolises lag behind China's fifth-tier cities or eastern counties. Indian claims about aerospace and military technology are also ridiculed, as Chinese people struggle to understand why Indians believe they can become a technological powerhouse. India's poor performance in the India-Pakistan air conflict has become fodder for viral videos and online entertainment. Third, India's national credibility is extremely poor, and Indian people have a bad reputation in China. Indian merchants' diverse fraud tactics have led to widespread complaints from victims. Business associations in trade-heavy provinces like Zhejiang and Guangdong have made preventing Indian fraud a standard training topic. In cities like Yiwu and Guangzhou, avoiding Indian scams is a mandatory lesson for merchants. At the Canton Fair, Chinese businesses collectively demand advance payments from Indian clients. As more Indians come to China for business or tourism, their uncivilized behavior has made Chinese people wary. Many question why so many visas are granted to Indians. The Chinese government has its own considerations. India imposes heavy restrictions on Chinese investment and business, but it remains a large market. Since few Chinese go to India, allowing Indians to come to China makes sense. As long as merchants improve their anti-fraud awareness, business with India can still be profitable. India's trade deficit with China is approaching $100 billion annually, a sum too significant to ignore. Still, many Chinese complain about companies transferring technology to India, even outdated technology by state-owned enterprises, which is often labeled as treasonous and criticized online. Fourth, India's government has an inconsistent foreign policy, acting as a two-faced opportunist profiting from all sides. It behaves like a vulture, entirely untrustworthy. India's betrayals of Russia and Iran convince Chinese people that it is not worth engaging with. In China, the farmer and snake fable seems tailor-made for India, with India as the snake. There is even a saying, between an Indian and a snake, always trust the snake. In organizations like the BRICS and Shanghai Cooperation Organization, India plays the role of a disruptor and U.S. watchdog, often opposing actions unfavorable to the U.S. India also has poor relations with all its neighbors, be it Pakistan or Bangladesh, who despise it. Chinese people believe the best policy for such a vulture-like nation is to discipline it with a slingshot. Negative Chinese views of India have deep roots. Objectively, before Modi took office, most Chinese supported the government's efforts to cooperate with India and resolve disputes through negotiations. However, Modi has thoroughly damaged China-India relations, and with India's weak national strength and poor credibility, Chinese people have lost patience. Any media outlet promoting improved relations with India is quickly labeled as traitorous. This powerful public sentiment now dominates media channels, and friendliness toward India risks accusations of treason and ridicule for stupidity. Even if Modi steps down, this sentiment is unlikely to reverse. China is a peace-loving nation. Even amid full-scale China-US tensions, pro-US sentiment persists. Even a staunch patriot like me believes the two countries can coexist peacefully, albeit with vigilance toward the US. Even Japan, China's historical enemy, sees more discussions of friendship than hatred. On the Chinese internet, South Korea and Japan face the most mockery. But while Chinese people mock and dislike South Korea, striking India has become a consensus.